Hi, everybody. Marilynn Hughes from the Out of Body Travel Foundation. Today on Tales of the Mendicant Preachers, I'm going to share just a little bit with you from a sermon concerning lowliness of mind from the great St. John Chrysostom. When lately we made mention of the Pharisee and the publican and hypothetically yoked two chariots out of virtue and vice, we pointed out each truth, how great is the gain of humbleness of mind, and how great the damage of pride. For this, even when conjoined with righteousness and fastings and tithes, fell behind, while that, even when yoked with sin, outstripped the Pharisee's pair, even although the charioteer it had was a poor one. For what was worse than the publican? Good question. But all the same, since he made his soul contrite and called himself a sinner, which indeed he was, he surpassed the Pharisee, who had both fastings to tell of and tithes, and was removed from any vice, on account of what and through what? Because even if he was removed from greed of gain and robbery, he had rooted over his soul the mother of all evils, vainglory and pride. On this account, Paul also exhorts and says, let each one prove his own work, and then he will have his ground of boasting for himself and not for the other. Whereas he publicly came forward as an accuser of the whole world and said that he himself was better than all living men. And yet, even if he had set himself before 10 only, or if 5, or if 2, or if 1, not even was this endurable. But as it was, he not only set himself before the whole world, but also accused all men. On this account, he fell behind in the running. So it was on the account of accusing other men and accusing all men, which caused him to fall behind in the running. How powerful accusation must be. And just as a ship, after having run through innumerable surges and having escaped many storms, then in the very mouth of the harbor, having been dashed against some rock, loses the whole treasure which is stowed away in her. So truly did this Pharisee, after having undergone the labors of the fasting and of all the rest of his virtue, since he did not master his tongue, in the very harbor underwent shipwreck of his cargo. For the going home from prayer, whence he ought to have derived gain, having rather been so greatly damaged, is nothing else than undergoing shipwreck in harbor. This applies to all of us, doesn't it? Knowing therefore these things, beloved, even if we should have mounted to the very pinnacle of virtue, let us consider ourselves last of all. Having learned that pride is able to cast down even from the heavens themselves him who takes not heed, and humbleness of mind to bear up on high from the very abyss of sins him who knows how to be sober. For this it was that placed the publican before the Pharisee, whereas that pride, and an overweening spirit surpassed even an incorporeal power, that of the devil, while humbleness of mind and the acknowledgement of his own sins committed brought the robber into paradise. before the apostles. Let's just reflect on that. The thief, the repentant thief on the cross, remember me, Lord, when you enter into your kingdom. In that simple act of humility in acknowledging his own guilt to the other thief who did not, Jesus says, this day you shall be with me in paradise. And here St. John is having us contemplate that this simple thief, in his humility in acknowledging his own sinfulness, brought him into paradise before the apostles. Wow. Now, if the confidence which they who confess their own sins affect for themselves is so great, they who are conscious to themselves of many good qualities, yet humble their own souls, how great crowns will they not win? For when sinfulness be put together with humbleness of mind, it runs with such ease as to pass and outstrip righteousness combined with pride. If therefore thou have put it to with righteousness, whither will it not reach? Through how many heavens will it not pass? By the throne of God itself, surely it will stay its course. In the midst of the angels with much confidence. On the other hand, if pride, having been yoked with righteousness, by the excess and weight of its own wickedness, had strength enough to drag down its confidence, if it be put together with sinfulness, into how deep a hell will it not be able to precipitate him who has it? These things I say not in order that we should be careless of righteousness, but that we should avoid pride. Not that we should sin, but that we should be sober-minded. For humbleness of mind is the foundation of the love of wisdom which pertains to us. Even if thou shouldest have built a superstructure of things innumerable, even if almsgiving, even if prayers, even if fastings, even if all virtue, unless this have been first laid as a foundation, all will be built upon it to no purpose and in vain. And it will fall down easily, like that building which had been placed on the sand. There is no one of our good deeds which does not need this. There is no one which separate from this will be able to stand. But even if thou shouldest mention temperance, even if virginity, even if despising of money, even if anything whatever, all are unclean, accursed, and loathsome, humbleness of mind being absent. So no virtue can attain to its true beauty without humbleness of mind. Everywhere, therefore, let us take humility with us in words, in deeds, in thoughts. And with this, let us build these graces. See you next time on Tales from the Mendicant Preachers.